Okay, third grade, I have your math lesson for today. We are on lesson 1.4. We are using mental math strategies for addition today. So our learning objective, you will use mental math strategies to find sums. Now remember, a sum is the answer to an addition problem. So what exactly is mental math? Well, these are strategies that we can use to help us add multi-digit numbers in our heads rather than just, using a calculator or having to write it out. So we're going to see a couple of strategies today that will help you do that. So we are looking at unblock the problem. The table shows how many musicians are in each section of a symphony orchestra. How many musicians play either string or woodwind instruments? Okay, so this is the table they're talking about right here. And we are just looking at string and woodwind instruments. That word either, that just means how many total musicians. Okay? So that's all it is. Just another word for saying how many altogether. All right. So what we're going to do here, we're going to add 57 and 15 together. And this time we're going to count by tens and ones to find 57 plus 15. And we are using a number line. So there's two different ways we can do this. We can count by ones and tens in any order. So that's what they did here. Notice that 3, 10, and 2 all add up to 15. So we're starting at 57 all the way on the left. And then we're adding 3 to it to get 60 to make it a nice round number. Then we're adding another 10 to get to 70. Nice round number. And at that point, we've got 13. We still need to get to 15, so we're adding 2 more. And then we finally end up on 72. So our answer would be 72. And there is another way. You could just start with adding tens first, which is what they do over here. So we're still starting at 57. Then we're adding 10 to get to 67. And then we still have 5 more we need to add. So we add 5 to 67, and then we get same answer, 72. Okay, personally, I like the second way better, but it's whatever works for you. Sorry, sometimes this happens when I erase. Okay, so we're going to do this again, and they gave me a blank number line this time. We're going to add 43 plus 28. So I'm going to start with my first addend all the way on the left. 43. Okay, and we need to add 28. So I'm going to add by tens first. So I'm going to add 10. So plus 10. So 43 plus 10, I can easily do that in my head. I'm going to get 53 from that. Okay, but I still need 28, so I'm going to have to go another 10. So 10 and 10 makes 20. All right, so I'm going to get 63. All right, I still need 8 more. So plus 8. So notice how the numbers across the top that I'm adding, 10 plus 10 is 20, 20 plus 8 is 28. All right, so 63 plus 8 will get me 71, and that's going to be my answer. So 43 plus 28 is 71. Okay, So number lines may not be your thing, and that's okay because, they do take time to draw. So we're going to look at another way. We can also use compatible numbers. Now, what on earth is a compatible number? Well, we can also call them friendly numbers. These are just numbers that are super easy to add. They end in 5 or 0. Okay, so in this case, we are using 5s as our friendly number. So if you look here in the blue, we are turning 178 into 175 plus 3. And with 227, we are turning that into 225 plus 2. So why are we doing that? Well, if you look here, it makes them so much easier to add. So instead of just adding 178 plus 227, let's try it this way. So 175 plus 225. 5 plus 5 is 10. Carry my 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. Okay, I'm going to carry my 1 again. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Look at that. Nice round number. So look at what they did. They spread out these 2 addition problems and stacked them on top of each other. Like that. And like that. So really what we do here is we just add up the columns. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. 3 plus 2 will get me 5. All right. And then the last step is just add these 2 together. So 405. And that is our answer. 178 plus 227 will get you 405. Okay, so I realize that this method may be super confusing, especially for parents helping their kids do this. And you're probably thinking, why on earth would I do that? That is so much more complicated than just adding normally. And I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I understand that this is probably very confusing to you. And I also understand that everybody's minds work differently. So to some kids, this probably makes no sense at all. And maybe it's easier to just stack the numbers, add them normally, and move on. And if that's how your mind works, then more power to you. But some kids, this makes total sense. And this is how they add. So when they're doing a problem in their head, this is how they think. So, I would just say when it comes to doing the homework, just do what works best for you. Do what makes sense to you. And that will be fine as long as you're understanding the concept and why we're doing it. So I'm going to do another one for you. We're going to use compatible numbers again, and I will break it down step by step one more time just so you can see how it works. So we're adding 26 plus 53 this time, and if you look over here, we have broken down 26 into 25 and 1. 25 is our friendly number, and then we broke down 53 into 50 and 3. So, and once again, I'm going to write it out over here for you. And I'm going to space them apart. So that way we can add these columns. So 25 plus 1 and 50 plus 3. Okay? So again, what you do is you just add the columns up. Right? So I'm going to add 25 plus 50 first, and that will get me 75, a nice friendly number. Then 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay, and we end up with 79. And if you go back and check 26 plus 53, you should be able to still get 79. All right. Erase this and keep scrolling down. All right. So I'm going to actually squeeze in a word problem because I do like to do word problems. So I'm going to look at my Go Deeper question, number 8, at the very bottom. There are 14 more girls. So I like to circle my numbers and underline my keywords. 14 more girls than boys in the school orchestra. There are 19 boys. How many students are in the school orchestra? Okay, so what they're telling me is there are 14 more girls than boys. Okay, so that's what I know so far. And I know that there are 19 boys. Okay, and then girls. So there are 14 more. So when I see that word more, I immediately think what? Addition. So that word more is telling me that I should add. What am I adding? Well, they told me there's 14 more girls and boys. So I'm thinking I should probably add 19 plus 14, sorry. Okay. I'm not going to go into all those steps of friendly numbers. I'm just going to add it. So 19 plus 14. And sometimes it's easier to stack. So 9 plus 4 is 13. I'm going to put my 3 there. I would be carrying a 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. See, that's some of my own mental math right there. So I get 33. Well, 33 what? That would be the question, right? 33 what? Is it 33 students? Well, we might think that, but here's the thing. Here's the tricky part. It says at the very beginning there's 14 more girls than boys, right? So what I just did here was I found out how many girls there are. Okay, because if I just said there was 14 or 33 students, well, that wouldn't make sense because there has to be 14 more girls than there are boys. So and it just would not work out that way. So what I've just found out that there are 33 girls. Okay, and they tell me that there are 19 boys. So there's a second step to this. It would be 19 plus 33. So 9 plus 3 is 12. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay, so now that sounds more right to me. There are 52 students. Okay? So right now you're probably thinking, what on earth just happened? Well, yeah, word problems are tricky, aren't they? You really have to pay attention to wording. And eventually I will start throwing problems like this at you on your homework. So I always tell my kids, you have to be a detective when it comes to word problems because they like to trick you with words like this, right? So you have to read your problems, make sure you're understanding what they're saying, and break it down like I just did, okay? All right, so that is it for this lesson. I'm gonna hop over to homework here. No, you're not doing this online, but I did take problems from this and I did put it on its learning. So I will tell you that you're not going to be doing exactly what we just did in the lesson with the compatible numbers and number lines. You do have some questions about it, but I'm not going to force these strategies on you because I know that that could potentially confuse you guys more, especially since you're online and not in person. So, well, you'll see what I mean. They're not anything to stress about. I mainly just care that you know how to add correctly. So just make sure you do your math carefully and line up your numbers correctly. All right, that is all I have for you today. Please make sure you are submitting your homework on It's Learning. Make sure you are hitting that submit button at the bottom because if you don't, it won't save.